Wow, so many. It's tough question. Probably one of the ones that just jumps to my mind is back as a sales manager, being called in by the VP of sales and saying, "I need you to go fire somebody." And I'm like, "What for?" And even though I didn't agree with this person's lifestyle, they wanted him fired because of his sexual orientation. And I said, no. You know, he made his numbers. It was not the right decision. I was not going to do that. So I did not. The president came to me, the VP, jumped down my throat, but it stood by my values, stood by what was right. And so that's really what it boils down to, is standing by what's right and what you believe, and sticking to your guns.
Well, actually, in my profession, not a week goes by that I don't make those life and death decisions that is going to impact one of our patients. In our healthcare system we have right now, every week we're having to go to battle for our patients because of the restrictions that we're having put on healthcare. So my priority is for the sick and the dying and the patients who need something. Other people's priorities, so I go to bat every single time because it's all about the patients. So I make those decisions all the time.
I'm so thankful you are not asking my wife this question, because I would be the answer. Served in law enforcement for about 6 years, and as my colleague here has mentioned, if you're in public service, nurse, fireman, police officer, whatever, you just can't go a day without making somebody mad, making a decision that somebody disagrees with. If you feel they deserve a ticket, that's one person who feels they don't deserve it. But I don't think that's what you're talking about. There's a list of so many times I've gone against my sergeants, the lieutenants, the captains. Technically, this person should have gone to jail. Technically, they broke the law. But there's other factors. I factor in everything and exercise my discretion. And we all have discretion. It's not all black and white. Let's take it on a case-by-case basis. And as he mentioned, stick with what you believe is right and stick with it.
While serving on the town council, I live off of Cottonwood Lane, Hardwick Pack, behind the town hall. And the situation came up, we had a double lot, and the situation came up to where they wanted to change the zoning in that area. And all of the residents of the area seemed to be against what the zoning commission had decided to do on it. And they had made the decision based upon Texas law, and actually there was no decision that they could make. The town hall was filled with people protesting. They actually hung the mayor and the mayor pro tem in effigy outside of the building over there. And the council wanted to vote to delay the vote until they would have less people there, and to delay it again so that they'd have less people there and wouldn't have to make the decision in front of other people. And I was the only one voting no, let's do what we have to do and take our licks.
I used to be in retail management. I was actually a retail manager out in Pensacola, Florida. And when I took over a store, there was definitely some death problems going on. The inventory never went right. It was always in the negative. And basically, I talked to my regional manager, and he said, "This has been an ongoing thing. What are we going to do?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "But I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to have a much closer eye on what people do." He says, "Well, you might need to get rid of everyone." I said, "Well, that leaves me. Who's going to run the store?" So basically, we had a discussion. We kind of negotiated how we're going to kind of strategically make this work. And after all said and done, I ended up having to get rid of my assistant manager. Some of the theft continued. And then he said, "Well, look, you have to get rid of everyone." I said, "I'm sorry, I can't do that. You have young college kids that are working here to make money, make ends meet." And basically after maybe a month or so, the theft stopped. Inventory started to balance, and by standing against my regional manager not to let them go, things worked out.
There have been plenty of times and opportunities to have conflict that has been presented to me. I've had one volunteer team of 28 people. I was told by an associate pastor who was overseeing me as supervisor, this is what I needed to do. And so I went and talked to the volunteer team, and they rebelled. They went to him, and he changed his mind, so there I was looking like the bad guy. What I learned to do is when I wanted to see change, or when I wanted to see improvements, I'd bring up an idea in conversation and know that it would take about 2 months before that became their idea, and they would come back with that idea and have ownership of it. And I would say, that's a great idea. And see that things could change and things could improve. And so it's more of a change on my part than theirs, but it's just an approach. When you disagree, you don't always have to have your way right then. But you can work around it.
All right, Bill? Everybody's going to one end of the table for the questions. Well, this one should be an easy one for you, Bill. Why are you running for town council?
It's the pay. Quite honestly, when I ran for town council, I didn't realize this is off the subject, but I didn't realize town council got paid. And at our first meeting, the human resources person came up and asked me to sign this form that's sent into the IRS. I couldn't understand what it was. And she finally understood that I didn't know I was getting money. So we get $25 a meeting. And so that's why. I have always volunteered. As I mentioned, I've lived around this community for 28 years. I was on the school board. I was a founding member of the Denton County Crime Stoppers, the Little Elm Awards Foundation, founding member of the American Legion. I've served on numerous committees, boards, and my life is in town, as well as my wife. I don't want to say that I'm the only one in our family. That's something we just feel is a responsibility. We just do it in the normal course of things. This was just, being on the town council was just an extension for me of what I've been doing for 28 years. I enjoy serving the people, and I look forward to another 3 years. Thank you. A lot of folks ask that same question every day. Why are you doing this? When you love Little Elm, I've only been here a little over 3 years. You get out here by the lake, you get into a tight community, you do know your neighbors, you get to work here, you get to visit with people. It's great. And so we love the community like that. You want to give back. So in a nutshell, I'm ready to take the next step from those two committees and give back at a greater level. Thanks.
Well, I'm running for town council because I want my taxes lower. I want my utilities to be less. Now, I've been very involved in a lot of things that are going on in the country. And the way I figure it, if I'm going to make a difference in turning the government back over to the people and make the government the servant of the people, then I might as well start at home. So that's what I'm doing. Not that I'm going to run for president one day. I think probably town council will be my limit. But I want to have a town that everyone is proud to live in. I want to have a place where we're not going broke living here. So that's why I'm running for town council.
Among other great, oh, pardon me. John, go ahead. No, you're the youngest.
My father raised us not to go to church empty-handed. And by that, he means don't go just expecting to get. What's the sermon going to be on? What's this? It was a Baptist church, so there's obviously a lot of food. But I kind of have that feeling about this town. I don't want to just get out of Little Elm. I love it here. I don't want to move. I love our family. the selfish side of me, it's my kids. I've got one out. Yeah, he's in the United States Air Force. Enjoyed his senior year here. I've still got a third grader and a second grader, and I want this to be the best town for them. So if I'm going to do everything I can for them, you know, I'm doing it for your kids too and your family too. And if that's more money in your pocket to spend with your family because our taxes are lower, if the school district's better, if the libraries are better, you know, whatever it takes. I'm in this for my family. I live here. I want to give, not just take. Richard, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm chaplain of the police and fire department. One of the many things that I'm concerned about is I was helping a family that had just lost a 3-year-old child over here, not across from Villages of Woodlake in the neighborhood over there. And while I was there, the fire department was there, but we only had one crew to man the fire truck. We had the ambulance. If we had an ambulance call, we had to abandon that family and go to the other one in order to do it. I have been with the police at night when there's been a death in the home, and we have 2 officers on duty because that's all the money that we have for officers. And when we have to stay in the home until the medical examiner arrives, we don't have the staffing for that. That is a part of many other things that we need to look into, take care of, and it can be done.
About 3 years ago, I started coaching the LISA program, basically the athletic program for kids here in Little Elm. And during that time, I got to know a lot of people in Little Elm, and I started to say, you know what, I really like this place. I really like the environment. I love the engagement that when people see you and they remember you from coaching, aren't you the coach? I'm like, yes, I am. And they started calling me coach. So those little things here internally kind of helped me become more involved in the area. Now, some other factors that kind of prepared me to run, I should say. I'm a member of our board for Political Action Committee at my place of employment. I'm also part of the Richard Green Scholar Program as a mentor. And when you collaborate a lot of those things, as well as on the board for planning and zoning here at Little Elm, and you collaborate and you combine all of those things together, I felt it propelled me to take another step to do something more for the town and something more for the people of this town, and basically help produce and create a situation where we all can enjoy and feel safe.
I moved into an area that had 14 houses when we came here. Now, between our exact neighborhood and the one across the street that was just a field, there's now about 160 homes. And I've been one of the block captains for Neighborhood Watch, reaching out to our community. And hearing what the people there are sharing with me, and hearing or seeing what's going on and sharing comments with my wife. My wife says, why don't you run for local office? So it's partly my desire to run for office, partly hers, telling me so that I'll have a voice instead of just telling her all the time, saying, here's what I think. So I'm running not only for me, my family, but for our neighborhood and for the community, because we really enjoy what we see here, and we really enjoy the Fall Festival, the 4th of July events, the things that go on down at the park. We like that sense of community, and we'd like to foster that.
I'm running for town council for the same reason that you were here, because you care about the town. You care about what your representation is, you care about the direction that it's going in, and you care about what happens not only to your neighbors, but to your vested interests here. As far as my personal motivation, I've always served in some capacity. I volunteered for the American Red Cross for the county chapter out in Collin County. I get blood when I can. I attended the Little Elm First Fire Academy when it was opened up, so that I was able to go out there and kind of see what our infrastructure did, see what our people did, get to meet our community, get to meet the folks that were around us. In fact, I contemplated running a few years ago for the direct place that I have, but we had a great individual running where I'm being represented, so I felt that we were in good hands at that point. But the opportunity here came up, and I want the opportunity to give back to a town and a community that has given me so much. It's allowed my family to prosper. It's allowed me to have my home in a safe area. It's allowed me to have great neighbors such as you and those around me. I just want to make sure